Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us in today. My name is Edward Debrah, health and safety professional based in Ghana, and then the chairman for H&S Network in Ghana as well.
Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us. I'm Alison. I'm the CEO for Proactively, and it's a really flexible, easy to use system for managing health, safety, environment, and other operational aspects. So today we're going to have a look at the main problems that health and safety and environment managers face. So Edward's going to share with us some of his experiences from Ghana and from around the world. And then I'm going to address each of those and show you how Proactively can help change those into an opportunity rather than a problem.
So the first challenge I have as a health and safety person over the years is that I struggle to get people involved. My experience has basically been in the petroleum downstream industry, where we have fuel stations scattered all around Ghana. I believe the same with Switzerland, the UK, and the rest of the world. We have people manning these stations at different sites. How do we get them involved such that we can have a unified front towards putting information and things together?
Okay, so let's have a look at how Proactively addresses this. So our idea is to engage people. First of all, we use mobile reporting. So one of the things that really turns people off is the paper forms and the tick box exercises. If you're using a mobile report, your phone is always with you pretty much, and it's something that most people, particularly most young people, find quite fun to use. So it means wherever you are, you can get access to that information and tell us what you see, and we can use the features of the phone, which are things like photos and things, to make it quicker to send the report in. The second thing we have is feedback. So one issue that a lot of people have with reporting is that it kind of has that feeling of going into a black hole. We don't know if anything is ever going to get done. So the Proactively system has a built-in feedback from your manager. He reads the report and then he can send you a thank you and he can tell you what he's going to do about it. So you can feel good about having sent that information in. Action tracker. Well, we're about, not just about reporting, we're about actually getting things done. And so with this action tracker, it will follow through those actions and make sure they happen. And then when people see that that something has been done and that they've made a difference, then they will also feel more engaged and more likely to report again. We're about positive things as well as negative. I mean, health and safety often has a very, very negative connotation, but actually rewarding people for a job well done is very important. So we allow people to make reports like that, or we encourage people to make reports like that. And then you can collect some examples of good experiences, and these will be absolutely perfect for your notice board. Anonymous reporting. Kind of the world that we live in, people can be worried about sharing information when they see that there's a problem. I mean, perhaps if you're a contractor working on site, then maybe it's going to stop work and you're going to cause delays and costs and things like that. So having the opportunity to do anonymous reporting, particularly for sensitive issues, is also very important. And then the last that I put down here is customization. So often I see systems where people have bought a standard system and then they've tried to adjust their company to the way the standard system works. Well, we're the other way round. We want to understand how you work and then customize our system so that it fits with how you work. And then it should go easily and be more easy to adopt. So all those things help us engage people with the Proactively system. Right.
Interesting. Thanks so much for details. So now, how do you get remote people joining, especially when you have challenges? I say this because in my part of the world, internet access is not readily available for everyone. People work and live in remote areas. As I mentioned, in the fuel station business, I've got stations all around the country where people do not have access to internet. If I get this software for them, how are they able to report incidents and whatever that happens on the site with no internet? If you can share some light on that, I'll be pleased.
Okay, so a mobile app on your mobile device, if you make a report and there's no network connection, it stores that information on your device. And then as soon as you have coverage again, so I know that that it can be that you have sort of blackout times where there will be no coverage, but as soon as the coverage comes back up, then that report will be sent automatically. So it means that you can work where there's no network. We're very lucky to have mountains here in Switzerland, and we send reports from the top of the mountain, and there's very little coverage there. But I also work with particularly construction companies where they're working underground, and you know, then you want to send a report from underground. You've seen something that you want to inform your manager about. Take a photo, fill in the form, press send, and it will, as soon as you come back out into the open and there's network coverage, it will send.
Okay. Is it user friendly? I'm talking in terms of people who are not really in tune with technology. How are they able to manage this? Is it user friendly?
Yes, and the whole purpose behind it is to make it very user friendly. So the forms are designed to be really quick to fill in. It's got help on it. You can see on this picture we've got little eyes here, so if you press those, they will give you more information about what is needed. Yeah, the idea is that you won't need to have training to use it as the mobile operator. Just looking at this picture here, we've got an example of this, the good practice report, and then on the right you can see this is where the feedback has come through. So just to give an example. Okay.
Now, a lot of people, the other challenge I've had over the years, not too long, not so many years at least. As I mentioned earlier, my experience spans over just 8 years. So I'm young, and I know that most of you online today and at this moment have over 20, 30 years experience. I'm a baby trying to learn. Yeah, so we also have a lot of challenges with data, where people have challenges with making the right decisions using data. How is Proactively able to support this data-driven agenda?
Okay, so we aim to have the right person with the right data at the right time. How often have you found that, well, you didn't know there was an accident, and if only you had known that was the situation, you could have done something about it, so you're finding out too late? Well, what we're doing is collecting real-time information so that you will understand what the situation is and be able to address it immediately, rather than waiting till there's an accident. So it's about real-time information, and then using that information in the way that you need to. So our dashboards are customizable for what you want to see. So the system will come as a standard dashboard, but then perhaps you're a site manager and you want to see site information. Perhaps you're a department manager, the maintenance manager, you want only the maintenance information. Perhaps you're a director, you need strategic, so you want the quarterly information rather than the production manager who wants operation information, where he can see a sort of a weekly feedback on things. So our dashboards are completely customizable to give the information that you're looking for. The sort of information that we have, I mean, you're probably familiar with these terms, leading and lagging indicators. So lagging indicators are about reporting something that has already happened. So for example, an accident, and it's a measure of what's already happened. It's a reactive measure. Leading indicators are about how you manage your organization. So it's about inspections and engagement and these kind of measures, how many toolbox talks you're doing, this sort of thing. We're able to do both of those. Both are important, and we can choose to do both of those in our system. Once that information's in the dashboard, it's graphically presented, so it's quite easy to understand what it's actually telling you, and then also easy to share. And this could be in your management reports, which could be a lot quicker to produce. And of course, today we're all very keen on data security. So this is a cloud system. Your data is secure in the cloud. It's backed up. We have, for example, certain questions that are encrypted. For example, if you had an accident, you need to keep the name of the person who's had that accident safe so that only certain people can see it. So we can use encrypted questions for that sort of thing.
I see.
So that's how I'm just going to quickly show, because we were talking about data. So this is an example of a dashboard. You can see down this left-hand side, we are able to add, we've got a plus here, add different dashboards depending on what you want to see. So I've got environment, quality, health and safety here. And this is my engagement dashboard. So I've got different sorts of graphs up here. This one is a hazard spotting graph. So it's sort of hazards, perhaps near misses. And our company has set a target, which is this line here, of 4. So each month we want at least 4 hazards to be spotted. So this is a proactive spotting. And you can see that once we've got to our target, the graph changes color. Now the advantage of this is that I can just quickly look at my screen and I know exactly which targets I've achieved and which I still need to put some effort into to getting there. So we've also got the similar sort of thing with our job well done reports. Here, this is an interesting, we can count numbers. So we've got 22 hazard reports. And out of those, we're interested not just people reporting hazards, but actually fixing them themselves. So feeling empowered to do something about it. And here we can see the number of actions that were actually closed by the reporter. So we've got 12 in there. So just under half of the actions, it was actually the reporter, as soon as he saw it, that he was able to close that out. And that's a good measure. And it certainly supports, if you have an ISO system, they're very interested in measuring engagement, and that's what that is. Moving down here, we've run 7 training courses in this period. And each person I've asked to rate their training course. So I can see at a glance that 5 people thought that they were very useful. And as I hover over it, this is just a screenshot, so it's not going to do it, it'll tell me how many are in there. Now you can imagine if you're a big organization and you've got maybe thousands of training courses running, then to be able to say which courses were rated higher, which were more people have attended, all this sort of thing, we can collect that information for you. And this last chart here, another measure of engagement is how long it takes to close out actions and reports. And you can see on here, this is the time that it's taken to close these reports. Again, I've seen lots of companies try and measure these, and it usually, that takes a lot of work and time. Whereas here, we're just getting the information coming up straight away on our dashboard.
Okay. Now tell me, how do we know what's happening? Again, we want to understand trends. You want to see, you want to have somebody sitting at the corporate head office, want to have oversight responsibility over everything happening at every site, even in the company as well. A lot of people in my part of the world do not take an interest in reporting unsafe and unsafe conditions.
Yeah.
So most of the time, top management do not really listen to the people on the ground. So people feel that, what's the point in reporting? How does proactively help motivate people or help encourage people or help get people involved in trying to report accidents and near misses and stuff like that? Okay,
so just looking at understanding what's happening and getting transparency, I completely agree with what you're saying, Edward, that the problem is that sometimes you find out too late. And if it's too late, then that hazard could have caused an accident. If it's too late and it was, for example, a spill, it can become much worse. So an ability to find out early and put mitigation in place is really important. And I think it's even more important now with our sort of COVID times. We have remote workers, and you know, you can feel very isolated when you're sitting at home. So to actually keep in touch with people like that is also very important. So what are we aiming for? Well, we're aiming for better and we want to be proactive with it. So we want to find out about things and do something about it before there's a problem, rather than just waiting for the problem to come along and then reacting to it. And how we can do that? Well, we want to first of all collect a lot more accurate data. I don't know if you have problems with how you collect data at the moment, and quite frequently I see paper forms, they're handwritten, they're hard to read, they get lost. You know, particularly if you're out on site, they get dropped in the water and stamped on a bit. So with our mobile reports, we're able to collect much more accurate information. We can use, for example, photographs that can really describe a situation before, without putting lots of words in there. We're also collecting a lot of that information behind the scenes, so time and date stamps, knowing who has sent the report in. So the data that you collect should be much better. Then what happens with that information? Well, you want, for transparency, you need to find out if that's a report that's of interest to you. So we have a system of notifications where if you're a manager of that department, it'll come up on your email, and then you'll be able to know that there was an issue and go straight into that report. And our notifications are customizable as well. So you don't want to, you're a manager of a maintenance department. I can imagine that you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of reports coming in. You need to be able to filter those so you only see the most important. So our notifications are designed like that. They filter, and then you will see immediately the most important ones. And then of course you can go into the system and go through the other ones as well. Our action tracker, we're very keen to know not only about finding out about the reports, but we want actions to come out of it. So we need to know the status of those actions, and that's very obvious within the system. So that means that we know what we need to chase and what's already been done. We can have some confidence along those lines. And I must say that I have spent a lot of hours sitting in meetings where we've gone through a huge action list and say, have you done it? Have you done it? Have you done it? And they go, no, no, no. And the action list gets longer and longer. Well, instead of that, now we have transparency. We can see without the meeting what has been done and also what needs to be escalated. And all this feeds into a history. I'm going to show you on here, this final thing. So the time date stamping comes in, and we can view the history of exactly what's happened for that report. So I'll just very quickly go through and show you. I've just taken 3 screenshots here. So the first one is off the mobile phone. So here we're actually doing an inspection. This is part of an inspection form for COVID, something that I guess you're all doing at the moment. So this is the 3rd part of the form, and we're interested in finding out about personal protective equipment. So it's got the standard questions. Is it fit for purpose? Is it free of charge? Are they trained, for example? And you can see that the inspector has said yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes, yes. So the problems are that the worker isn't trained to use it and he's not using it correctly. And we can put some comments down here. There's been no training on how to put on a mask without contamination. So we've got some more details there. We know what the problem is. People touch the outside of their mask frequently. Do you know, it is true that when you type into a mobile phone, you make spelling mistakes, but we know what they're going on about. So that report is now sent into the system. They fill in the rest of the audit and press send, and it appears in the system. And now this is their manager looking at it. So this is the manager's looking at the report, and you can see straight off he's got green ticks and red boxes. So without reading every question, he knows that the issues are the worker uses it correctly and the worker is trained to use it. So it's really obvious what is important. So then he sets an action and he tracks the action. And now we can go into the history tab, and we can see that here the report was raised, it was opened, I created an action. And in my action, I said, please show a short video of how to wear a protective mask at your team meeting. And you've probably seen those, they're only a couple of minutes long, so it should go down well. And then the manager has closed it, and he said, I've shown the video, everyone was there, I've got a list of names, good discussion, and we all practiced it together. So I now know that that's done. So that's the kind of oversight that the system can give you. And that certainly is much better than sitting in a meeting and chasing, have you done it, have you done it?
Okay, that makes it quite easy to navigate through, because most of the time, lots of people do a lot of paperwork, and then it sometimes can get wet, it can get missing. People might not look after it very well, record keeping, and all of that. So I think it's going to help do away with all the bureaucracies of paperwork and still go straight to the point and get what you need.
The challenge here was about companies not having sufficient resources. I think particularly health and safety departments are very strapped of cash. They're not seen, well, they're often seen as being a cost to the business rather than a benefit. So the money goes into marketing and sales and that side of things. And we're all struggling to find a budget to meet what we need to achieve. So it's about doing more with less, and that's where Proactively can help you. So first of all, we're aiming to automate and remove time-wasting tasks. So we've had a quick look at the action tracker already and the reporting. I mean, can you imagine, just looking at the right, these automated workflows, faster reporting? So your guy who's out there doing inspections doing inspections is a good example. Normally he has to go to the computer, print off an inspection form, come out, go and fill in the paperwork, and then think what he's going to do with the paperwork. And it's a time-consuming thing. So now we've got much faster reporting because those report forms are always to hand. So you can do your report and basically get back to work. The time away from the job is a lot less. Another example of that might be if you're doing a sort of dynamic risk assessment. So before you start work, you want to just have a quick check that everything is in place, that you have the right permits, the right PPE, all that sort of thing. So now really quickly, you can do that check and then get back on with the job. So it's built into how you work rather than seeing it as an added extra. So we've got faster reporting, faster actions that we've just talked about the workflow before, less time in meeting, and always being audit ready. Now, a lot of you on this call will be health, safety, environment managers, and you are subject to frequent inspections by the regulator or by your customers, or even by ISO auditors. And quite a lot of preparation goes into being audit ready. So now that data is going to be there for you. Then the second part here is about making better data-driven decisions. So there's only a certain amount of money that we have access to. We want to spend it on the things that are important. We want to be able to prioritize that. We don't want to waste the money on things that are not important. And to make that decision, we need better data. So what Proactively has is the dashboard that shows where those priorities are. And then you can target that money to the right place.
Alison, can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things on spending money and things is certainly in the UK, I don't know about around the world in every country, but people that run companies are all liable, aren't they, for the well-being and safety of people, and especially with COVID, even more so. So it's almost like you can't afford not to get your staff into positions where they're dangerous. So almost this could save you from a liability court case or whatever as well, which is quite a value-adding sort of thing, isn't it? Very fast as well. But that's
for certainly the risk of fines, of going to prison now, of civil cases, the costs are huge. And having a system in place that you can defend yourself against those is really, really important. Thank you for bringing that up, Nikki. That's a really a good point, that having the evidence in place can protect you. So it's in two parts. It's stopping having the accident in the first place, and then showing that you had the right systems in place, and being able to prove that in a court can certainly help you in those circumstances. Exactly.
And I suppose the other thing is it's very fast, isn't it? Because I work in lots of businesses where there are people at all levels who kind of want to help or have good ideas or want to stop bad ideas, and they don't know how how important it would be to the CEO. And if this is a really good way of them sending it in and saying, I think it's fairly important, but actually it categorizes it so that then whoever's most in charge can see the really big deals and make quick decisions on it, can't it?
Yes, yeah, certainly. So I've also sat in a lot of meetings where particularly health and safety people wave their hands and say, we need to do it, it's the law. And it kind of, after a certain level, it doesn't work in a corporate environment. It doesn't work if you're going to go to the directors of a company and just say, we need to do it. So having evidence at your fingertips can help you justify what you need to do. So definitely in sort of trying to get budgets, I can see this being a really useful tool for that.
All these things are in an advanced world. Let's come back to the realities on the ground. We have a lot of countries in Africa that do not even have an OSH bill. As I mentioned, I've been in the industry for at least 8 years, practicing as a health and safety professional. And I can tell you for a fact that I have not seen nor heard any top executive being prosecuted for manslaughter, for injury to staff, deliberate injury to staff, and all of that as a result of work. It has never happened. I've never seen. If there is, maybe somebody can prove me with a document of some sort. How does this support? Because if you make an argument, when I started off my career, I had a lot of challenges with trying to get budget approvals for health and safety related items until a major disaster struck. After that time, then things happened. Things began to improve. Culture of safety began to change and all of that. What I'm trying to say is, in our part of the world, in my part of the world, not trying to paint a bad picture, but in my part of the world, we do nothing until something bad happens.
So okay. I have seen reports from Africa when something bad happens and it does hit the press. You know, that you've had several big accidents and you know, people's perception of companies changes when these things are publicized. So whilst you might not have the similar legal systems to what we have in the UK and here in Switzerland, it certainly is the case that having accidents gives bad publicity, and that is bad for business.
Yes. So COVID has presented a huge opportunity right now. Huge opportunity. So whenever any budget is sent to senior management for approval, they don't even wait 2 minutes. It's approved. Mm-hmm. COVID has presented a huge opportunity. Now the question I ask is, aren't we supposed to be more proactive than reactive? Looks as if because of our unpreparedness, we are now moved to the reactive gear instead of being proactive to save a lot of. But I mean, that's for the later part of the discussion. We will now have more time to go through the challenges that people face and all that. The last challenge I think I've had as an HSC professional over the years is technology. And I also see that a lot of people might not be internet savvy, might not know how to use smartphones, iPads, and stuff like that. How are they going to navigate through proactively? Because I see it's on Android App Store, and then it's on App Store and then the Play Store. How are they going to navigate it if you don't know anything about the technology? Because I know in the Western world, few years I spent there, most of the people to the very older generation, I call them BBC, born before computers. Those people do not know much about computers, and then they will not embrace technology. How are you going to use proactively to influence this?
Worried about technology. Yes, I think you're exactly right that a lot of people are worried that themselves as the manager who's wanting to control this system, that they haven't got the technical expertise to use it, but also that the people on their sites also haven't got the expertise to use it. So this was really important in our minds when we came to designing the system on how easy it is to use. So for the mobile app, for example, you don't need any training on it. It's intuitive. You know, you read the questions, there's question help, and it goes through. We've even got, if you join us for the demo next week, then there's a QR code system where all you do is press the mobile app, your mobile device on the QR code, and it appears on your phone. So it's all designed to be straightforward and simple and easy to use. So how it's designed is it's easy to get started, easy to use, easy to maintain. It's based on a cloud system, so there's no installing software on your computers. It'll all come over the internet and through the mobile app, which comes from Google Play and the App Store. I talked a bit about the QR code. So the system comes with standard forms. So if you want a standard accident reporting or hazard reporting or inspection forms, that's in there. But all businesses are different, and you want something that can suit you. So we've got a customizable system that And I'm going to show you this on the next slide. It's got like this drag and drop system. So here's our form as it appears on the mobile phone. And this is the drag and drop system where we pick up a question and we add it to the list here. And that means that we can change the questions to exactly what we want for our company or what you want for your company. Once again, you saw the drag and drop aspect of it. That's really easy. So there's no coding needed in that. You can start with the standard forms and then customize them for exactly what you're looking for. Of course, we offer support. There's quite a lot of support built into the system with help functions, with little videos and things like that. And the model is that there are people like Edward around the world who are local support. So they're experts in using the system and can help companies get the most out of it.
Thank you so much. All too soon, our time is gradually drawing to an end.
Thank you. Thank you, Edward, for organizing and everyone for coming.